Hey there, I'm srcmake and welcome to part A of the Java series. We're going to start to branch off now and talk about things that are related to Java but aren't directly programming language features. So what we're talking about in this video is building with Maven. And as usual, website is open. If you'd like to see this stuff, then go ahead and click the link below this video. It'll take you to the webpage, and while you're down there, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. So we're going to talk about Maven, and what Maven is a build tool for Java. So how do we compile our programs? Well, we use a makefile, and our makefile does javac to compile our main startup file, and then we call Java on the main startup to actually run the program. So remember, Java is a compiled language, which means we compile the code into a executable, and then we run the executable. And Maven is just a build tool that sort of does this for you, or it helps you do it. And to be honest with you, the way we've been doing it is really easy, really nice and simple. But the reason that you would use Maven is because it helps you with dependencies. So let's say you have like a big Java project and you're working with the team on it, and there are a bunch of dependencies that you need, a bunch of different libraries because your program is complex. Well, to use the way we've been doing javac is not going to work out because we haven't really used libraries so far. But when you do use libraries, there are always a bunch of dependencies, a bunch of versions of those libraries that you honestly do not want to keep track of, because sometimes there are errors, there are conflicts, and you just don't want to deal with those. So what you do in these big projects, in these big team projects, are you actually use Maven or another build tool like Gradle. But we're going to talk about Maven in this video. So I'm going to use this as a reference, and as usual, I've got my Ubuntu 16 virtual machine running. And this is the code from the last video that we did, which should be video 9 as I'm saying this. Let's see what the git status is. Did I push this already? Yeah, it's up to date. Okay, so we are going to start out by installing Maven. But what we're going to do first is let's actually create a new folder for this project, and let's cd into it, because this is our language code and we basically want to make a Maven project. What we're doing is we're going to use Maven to build our own Java project, and then once it builds, then you actually just use that as the baseline. So first thing we're going to do is sudo apt-get install Maven. Right? Yeah. So password. And it's really convenient for us that we're using Ubuntu, because as opposed to like Windows where you have to download and find stuff and make sure that it all works and double click stuff, you just sudo apt-get install it. And we're doing that for Maven right now. So we're just going to let this run. Hopefully it doesn't run too long. If it does, then I might pause the video and then just... Should I pause the video? Let me see. Okay, I'm going to pause the video, and when this finishes, I don't know how long this is going to take, then I will come back. So pause. Wow, as soon as I paused the video, it actually stopped. Okay, so we installed Maven, and what we need to do now is say Maven version, just to make sure that we have it. And we have Maven version 3.3, which should be good enough. We can upgrade it later if we want to, but this is fine for now. So what we want to do actually is a lot of setup stuff. So make sure you pay careful attention to this. I'm not just saying this for my health. I'm saying this because it's a little bit complicated. We're going to try to find our Java version. Not the version of Java, but the name of our Java. So what you're going to do is you're going to cd user, you're going to cd lib, and you're going to cd jvm. And this should get you to where your Java is installed using Ubuntu. The reason we need to do this is because we need to set our Java home environment variable so that Maven knows what to do, what compiler to use. So remember, we've been using javac, but Maven does not know what our Java compiler is. The compiler is this little black box that takes our code and spits out the executable. Maven doesn't know what we're using, so we have to make sure we specify it by specifying the Java home environment variable. So we're looking at our Java folder on our Ubuntu, and you can see this is what our folders are, what's inside of our folders. And you can see that Java 8 Open JDK AMD64 is the name of my folder that contains Java. You can tell because it's like this little bit of dark blue. And you can tell it's a folder. Let me see. Can we do it like this? I don't know. Well, it's a folder because you can tell it's this blue and you can cd into it. But make sure you memorize this name. Now, what we need to do next is we need to set the Java environment variable. So we're going to do this by saying export and Java home, and we're going to say that's equal to the path. So our path is for Ubuntu is user libraries JVM, and the folder name where our Java compiler and all our Java stuff lives is Java 8 Open JDK AMD64. Because remember, we just checked this path is where our Java lives for Ubuntu, and this is a particular folder. Now your name might be different depending on what kind of Ubuntu you're running or anything like that. So make sure you get that name. Then you export it, and the way you and then let's make sure you refresh your environment. So just type this period / etc. to refresh your environment, and then I think you do this echo. This isn't in the instructions, but I think you do this, and this echoes what the Java home environment variable says because you got this $, and this is the path, which is exactly what we want. So the next thing we need to do, what I particularly need to do, is I need to update my Java. So we're going to sudo apt-get install open JDK 8 JDK. Now, this is something that I found. Oh, what? It's already newest? Okay, so in one of my Ubuntu versions, it did not, when I was testing this out, my JDK was not updated, and sometimes Ubuntu doesn't do that, so just make sure you do it, just to make sure. And we're gonna, let's see if we have to do it. Technically, you should do a sudo apt-get upgrade, but it seems like mine is already, oh no, okay, fine, let's upgrade it. You can see 160 wasn't upgraded, so let's upgrade it. Okay, so this is going to upgrade our OpenJDK 8, because when Ubuntu installs it, it turns out that for this particular one, OpenJDK 8, it was not updated to have all the compiler things, and I had an issue with Maven. So just make sure that yours is updated, and that's the syntax for it. Again, I'm running Ubuntu 16.04, and you saw me at the beginning of the series how I installed Java, right? Right here in this video, I think I installed Java. No, wait, in this video. In video 1, I installed Java. And what I did was I just used these commands. So I'm just saying this because I know that a lot of people might have issues because some people are going to be running Mac, some people are going to be running Windows, and it's going to be a real headache. That's why I'm using a virtual machine for everything. I've got a virtual machine up. It's got my Java, and that's what I do the work on. So we all started from the same place. You saw exactly what I did to set this whole environment up, so you can basically copy it. Okay, so I'm gonna pause this again because I think this upgrade is gonna take a long time. So I'm gonna be back when this is done. Okay, so the upgrade is finished, and we are going to move on with the next step. So far, we've installed Maven, and we've set our Java environment variable, our Java home variable, to point to our correct Java folder so that Maven knows where the compiler is. And the last thing that we just did was we upgraded our OpenJDK to make sure that it was fully functional. It had all our features. So hopefully we're good to go. And right now we're going to exit from this terminal because we don't need to be there anymore, because it was in the weird path. We're going to create a new one that's back in our project folder. And what we're going to do is we're going to use Maven to create our project. So the way you do this is you say Maven archetype generate. And this is going to build a project for us, and you'll see how it works. So, come on, Maven. Okay. So there would have been an error if you didn't set the Java home variable properly, and this wouldn't have worked at all, but it did work, so we're happy. So this is just going to do some stuff. And, oh, you know what? I think like the first time these things happen, it takes a long time. Okay, so we're on our first part that says input. Now, whenever it asks you for something, just press enter unless, choose a number 6. Just press enter. Okay, so there are 3 things that we need to specify that we don't press enter for. The first is this group ID. Now our group ID is basically our website name, which is com.sourcemake, and then the project that this is going to be. So we're going to call it builder because we're just building a project to test it out. The artifact ID is also something we need to set, and we're going to set that as example build, and that's it. And the version we're just going to say is 1. And the package we're just going to press enter for, and we're just going to press enter. So again, the only thing that you need to worry about is the group ID, the artifact ID, and the version. Everything else, just press enter. Because it's really weird. They ask you like a million questions. To be honest with you, this is really annoying compared to our usual make file where we just make and compile with Java-C. But you got to do what you got to do for big projects, especially if the project is really big. Okay, so now we have our sample project and its name example build. So let's look inside the project. So we'll notice 2 things. First of all is the source folder. Now remember, my name is srcmake because all the code goes in the source folder. Even Maven knows that. So first, let's look at the POM file though. So pom.xml is basically the entry point for our application. It's like the manifest file. It specifies what our Java code, I think this is going to open in Firefox. Yeah, this is so dumb. I don't know why. Let's close this. And let's open it with gedit. So our POM file is simple XML, and you can see that it just specifies the dependencies, the libraries for our project. It's got a few other things like the name of the project, some version numbers for Maven, and the type of packaging, the name, the group ID, version, stuff like that. So this will be complex later, and to be honest, when you start a real project, you're going to have to go more in depth with this. But for now, just take it for granted that this is where you specify your libraries. Now we've got the source file, which is going to hold our code. Now there's 2 folders in our source folder. One is test, and the test is going to be for our unit test. And you can see that the path is like ridiculously long. And honestly, I'll be honest with you, I have no idea why the path is so long. There's like a million folders and folders. It's folderception. I think it's so stupid compared to just like whatever. So the test file contains our unit test code, and the main file contains our source code for our real project. Unit tests are basically tests for the main project. And you can see we've got this app.java file, and inside of it is a basic hello world project, because that's what we basically, that's what the project starts out as. So let's say hello world from srcmake. We'll edit this a little. You know, it's just basic Java. You say a package name, and you have the class, you got main, and, you know, basic Java. So now we're going to build a project. So make sure you are in this folder right here, I think. So let's open a terminal here, and let's close this one out. So in the root of the project, which is this, we are going to say Maven clean package. And this basically builds our package. And you'll see that it will compile our Java code. Again, first step is compiling our Java code into the executable. And a whole bunch of other junk, because, you know, this is a build tool. You can do like so many things with it. But for now, just take it for granted that we are using this to compile our code. You can see this target folder got made, and you can see build success. So let's look inside the target folder. There's a bunch of stuff in here, and I honestly don't want to go over it because it's crazy. It's so complicated. But since we're just learning about Maven, we're going to come into this target and classes folder. And if you look inside and you keep going all of these folders, folderception, you'll see that there's an app.class file. Now remember, when we did our Java-C to compile our program, we got a class file too. And this is the same thing. It compiled into this executable, basically. I mean, it's not actually an executable, but it's a class file. So now let's open the terminal here in this folder, right here in target classes. So you would cd target classes if you were in this folder, but I'm just going to open a new terminal inside of it. So we're inside the classes folder, and now we're going to run our project. Remember, we compiled it, now we run it. So you do that by saying java com.sourcemake.builder.app. Now Java, again, we were using this command already. And com.sourcemake.builder is the package name that we had, and .app is our main startup, basically. instead of main startup, we have app.class. So Java it, and you can see that the project runs. It outputs hello world from srcmake to the command line, and that's how Maven works. So that was a lot of work, and I've got another resource on the website if you want to click it, because this goes into real depth about how you use Maven, what it's about, build lifecycle. It's a whole big deal. But this video was just introducing you to how Maven works. So that's Maven. That's how you install it. That's how you use it. Again, to build Maven clean package. And if you want to expand the project, just go back to the main. Just go back to source, main, Java. Go down to folders, and you can edit your code in here. So that's Maven. That's a build tool useful for managing dependencies. For big projects, you will use it. For really small, like little tedious projects, just use the line to solve Java C the way we've been using it. So I'm srcmake. Thanks for watching.